Hey guys, Paul Reddick here. Happy Sunday morning. Making this video here to address some of the criticism I've received over the last couple days. Since we sent out the BalancePoint post, people got a little pissed off at your old buddy Paul here. And there's a lot of reasons why they would get upset. I understand it, but a lot of the criticism that I've gotten is really kind of silly to me because there's a few forms of criticism that I got. Number one was that I was only showing still pictures, and that any still picture could be made to look, the way I wanted it to. I even got accused of photoshopping, and believe me, if I thought I could use Photoshop, I can't even get the thing to work. So that's not the case. But the biggest problem I have is that coaches who will say things like, well, I've been coaching 20 years and you're wrong, I know what I'm doing. Well, 20 years of coaching badly is just 20 years of coaching badly. In fact, it's the exact reason why this position causes so many problems. Coaches teach the balance position the wrong way. Their players do it the way they're saying, and then they end up getting hurt or not getting results or underperforming. They're doing the wrong thing the right way. So 20 years of bad coaching is just 20 years of bad coaching. And a lot of the other criticisms I got were from people that were just really, pretty upset. And I understand it from some coaches and instructors, because some coaches have a problem going back to their players and saying, hey, what I taught you wasn't quite right. And some instructors who've been paid a lot of money, um, have a problem saying, hey, everything I taught you before was wrong, we're going to change it. I never had a problem with that. In fact, as a coach, that is your job, is to constantly grow. I would tell my players, as I would tell you, if I'm back here saying the same things I did a year ago, I didn't do my job as a coach and I didn't fulfill my promise to you. I constantly have to be growing. Doesn't mean I'm going to change my theories, but at least I'm finding better ways to teach it, better ways to explain it, better ways to demonstrate it, better analogies that you'll understand. So that's kind of my thinking of it. So I'm going to get in here and I'm going to make this video. This is going to be the proof. You're going to see the different videos of pitchers. I've divided this into the right side will be the right pitchers, the pitchers doing it right, and the left side are the pitchers doing it wrong. So let's get into the pitchers doing it right first, okay? So we're going to get away from that stop at the top, show the number, get gathered over the rubber, stay back. None of that. That's not what elite, healthy pitchers do. In fact, it's exactly what injured, underperforming pitchers do. Now, let me address one thing. Does that mean that every pitcher doing that is underperforming? Yes, to a certain degree. Justin Verlander, if you can believe it, actually has a little bit of what we talk about, a little bit. There's a lot of great pitchers that are pitching successfully in baseball that will do these things, but we're focusing on long-term successful individuals. If a pitcher comes up and has a couple good years and then they burn out or get hurt or their performance is up and down, that's, to me, not a model that we want to follow. And as your coach, consultant, and advisor, I cannot put you on that path. I have to show you the best possible mechanical protocols that I can. And it's up to you to get as close as you can to them. So, there are varying degrees as well. Just because a pitcher isn't perfect doesn't mean they can't perform. And just if you're not perfect doesn't mean that you can't perform either. But we want to keep striving towards that, getting as close as we can to having optimal mechanics. Okay, so one of the pitchers that I made a video of was Randy Johnson. Okay, and I got a lot of criticism of Randy Johnson saying, oh, I took the picture that I used was when he was leaning towards home plate. Well, here we go. We'll take a look here. Oh, let me back that up a sec. Okay, here's Randy Johnson basically at the top of his lift. Okay, where's his angle? Now, this is not even a direct side shot. It looks like a direct side shot, but it's slightly towards the home plate side of first base. So if this were a direct side shot, you would see a much more exaggerated lean towards home plate. But it's kind of clear. You can see here exactly. Whoops, let me just back this up. You can see exactly where he is at the top of his lift. Okay, he is going forward the entire time. There it is. Can't argue with it. Roger Clemens. Okay? Take a look at where he stops. Whoops, let's kill the sound on that sucker. Okay? Top of his lift, a little more. Right here. Check out the angle. Can't deny it. Okay? Going forward the whole time. Okay, let's take a look at Brian Johnson, that crazy, this is before, Brian Wilson, excuse me, before he got the beard. Okay, let's take a look at him at the top of his lift. Right there, we would say. Again, this is not a direct side shot. This is probably a middle of first base line shot. Look at the angle of the back leg. Look at where he's moving. Look at where he is in relationship to the rubber. And again, if we looked at this directly from the side, this would be even more exaggerated. Okay, this is just another version of Clemens. You could see here at the top of his lift where he's leaning and looking. Johnson, who else did I have in here? Roy Oswalt. Okay, so you can see Oswalt here at the top of his lift. Right, back up a step, right there. And look at the angle here. Again, this is a middle of the first baseline shot, not a side shot. If we looked at this from this angle here, you would see a big difference. So let's kind of let's leave these guys where they are. Okay, oh, I got Maddox up here. This is just a warm-up shot of Maddox. This is not the best shot, but you'll still see, and I actually love this. Whoever did this video, it's just a YouTube video that I found. Perfect on the lower half. Look where he is at the top of his lift. See where he's going, and he's moving towards home plate. So let's leave all these guys up here, and then let's take a look at the culprits here, the bad guys. Okay, let's make these just a little smaller. Okay. Alrighty. Now, let's take a look at these guys. Okay. Now, one of the criticisms I got was about Kerry Wood. They said that Kerry Wood did not stop at the top, but Kerry Wood had a step across his body problem. Well, he does have a stop at the top issue. He does have a balance point issue, and that's what causes the stride. So if anybody says you need to lengthen your stride, get out in front, extend your release point, you can't do that without fixing this position. Let me show you. Okay, let's look at Kerry Wood. This guy said he did not have a stop at the top problem. Now look at Kerry Wood versus Roy Oswalt. Kerry Wood straight up at the top of his lift. Roy Oswalt's going towards home plate. Look at Clemens. Same thing. Clemens is moving towards home plate. That's the rubber. Kerry Wood is back over the rubber. His back shoulder's over the rubber. Clemens' back shoulder has already cleared the rubber. He is moving towards home plate. Then what happens with Wood as he comes out, now this creates, look where the leg comes. Now you're going to see, let me see if I can nail that one frame. You're going to see, whoops, it's there. There you go. You're going to see this straight leg issue. I'm going to get into that in another video, but let's look at him from another angle here when he's pitching with the Yankees. And this is, again, whoops, let's kill the sound on that sucker. Okay. Let's go slow motion again. Stop. No lean. Everything going back. Now, there goes the leg extension. That straight leg extension he's reaching out. When you go back, right, when you rotate backwards, now you have to generate momentum going forwards, and that will cause you to, it's kind of like when you're closing, you have to then open it up, and when you're opening up and you're trying to go directionally, you have to gain leverage, and you're going to see this how this comes out through all of these guys. Here's Cole Hamels. Okay, now he's a good pitcher, but he's had some injuries, he's had some issues. Here he is, back over the rubber, swinging back, balanced position. Okay, let's see, and where's our straight leg? Boom, swinging around, straight leg. Here's our everyone's favorite, Steven Strasburg. Now I gotta tell you, when I looked at Strasburg early on when he was in college, he looked a little bit better than he did now. I actually came out for him, but as he got deeper into pro ball, it looks like his mechanics changed a little bit. But you see, now he's got a little bit, he slightly leans, but this is the top of his lift. He is straight up and down. Now again, this is from a third base line shot. If we saw this from the front, you'd see that foot crossing back over the rubber. It's just a bad sign. And then watch. Whoops. Let me see if I can nail that. And now he gets into that inverted W. I'm going to get into that next week. But here we see a straight, that leg is straightening out and is going to flop over. Watch that front foot flop open. No good. Okay? You can take another look at Strasburg here. Okay? There he is, top of the lift. This is more of a, it's still not a dead onside shot, but pretty close. Looky where it ends up. And this inverted W. I'm going to get into that. That's another another kind of myth. Well, it's not a myth, but it's not why pitchers are getting hurt. Here's A.J. Burnett. Let's make this a little bit bigger. All right. So A.J. Burnett, as he comes forward, or comes back, rotate back directly over the rubber, stays back, stays closed, gets balanced. And then what do we know about A.J. Burnett? He goes good, he gets hurt, he struggles, he gets hurt. See, when these guys all come to this position here, it's a stop, it's a dead stop. They can't do anything. So from a dead stop, what you're going to see from all of these guys is this big opening up where everything kind of has to fly open and it kind of like explode. But it's not a great position to be in. So let's take a look at Wood. Okay? When Wood stops, now you're going to see this hole, and then it's almost like a catapulting effect. You'll see them kind of falling over a straight front leg. Okay? Because as that leg goes and swings around, it never gets back in line with home plate. See, look here. It never gets back in line with home plate. He's crossed. Okay? Look here. Let's see when he lands. That's not the best shot of him doing that. This one's probably a little bit better. See how that front foot flops open? It never gets back in a straight line with home plate. What did I do with Hamels here? Okay, so watch Hamels. As that leg swings around, see that front foot flop open? That's a direction change. Directional change. He's going towards the first base side. Now he flips it and goes to tries to go towards home plate. No good. So all that happens because of the angle that's taken at the front and the start of the delivery. So if you look at Clemens, he doesn't have any of those issues. You don't see his front leg straighten out. His front leg stays bent the whole time, and he's driving towards home plate. Okay, you don't see this. Oswald's very good at that. You don't see that front leg straighten out. He drives towards home plate the whole time. Who else did I have here? Johnson. Okay, you don't see Johnson. Oh, whoops. We'll go through this a little bit. You don't see Johnson's front leg straighten out. He drives towards home plate the entire time. Bottom line is this. The initial balance point that we teach is just flat out wrong. The best pitchers in baseball are moving towards home plate at the top of their lift. From their first movement, they are moving towards home plate. Now, some people I'm going to get into this deeper about all the problems that this causes down the road. But you're going to see these guys over here have had performance issues, health issues. These guys have been pretty much injury-free and healthy. Nobody in baseball can remain totally injury-free, but we want to reduce the risk and minimize it as much as we can. So the bottom line is that when we teach that balance position, we're actually teaching kids to take energy away from home plate, to stop their momentum, to break laws of inertia, and then have to regenerate it. When they have to regenerate it, it misdirects and misaligns the entire delivery. In fact, almost all of the flaws that we talk about are caused by pitchers trying to correct themselves in the delivery that was all caused by a bad starting point. So think about it. Remember, the pitching delivery is about 1.3 seconds. So if you take 1.3 seconds and you take the first 0.5, 0.6 seconds and you misdirect, you've only got another 0.6, 0.7 tenths of a second to get that sucker back on track. That's hard to do, and it's a point where everything is happening very, very quickly. So in the end, we have to get away from teaching this, get players to start to move towards home plate. Now, the biggest criticism I hear is that when people start to teach this, they say, oh, my players felt like they were rushing. Get over rushing, okay? Roy Oswalt is not rushing. Brian Wilson's not rushing. Clemens isn't rushing. Maddox isn't rushing. When you take them from this position of standing straight up to then moving forward, yeah, it's going to feel like they're quote unquote rushing. But I always tell people it's kind of like the first when you were learning to drive. It's like the first time you went on a highway and it feels like everyone's going a million miles per hour and you can't keep track of everything. But now when after you learn to drive, you can go on no problem and you're changing lanes and drinking coffee and the whole thing. It's easier. So it's going to be a struggle. And it takes a good coach with solid beliefs and solid self-esteem to be able to tell their kids, yes, we are going to struggle with something for a while because it's a change, like anything else, like learning algebra. It's a struggle, but we need to learn it. So we're going to, instead of just saying, hey, when I teach you this new position, it's not even a position, I shouldn't say that, but when I teach you this, and you have a bad bullpen session or a lesson session, well, that's what's going to happen. So don't sweat it. But a lot of coaches and instructors are not willing to let their kids have a bad bullpen section because it makes them look bad as coaches. That is the worst thing a coach can do, is to protect himself and to protect his own ego. Do what's right in the long term. That's what a coach is supposed to do. I'm going to tell you that I've struggled with kids, and yeah, I felt like I should pull back, maybe just go back so they have a good session, leave with confidence. But I'm there to teach them the long term. I'm there to show them what's right, and I have a responsibility to do that. So there it is, kind of right in front of you. So if you do have more hate mail, I'd love to hear it. But but as you know, for every one hate message I got 5 or 6 messages that were all in support, and we're thankful that I'd kind of opened their eyes on this. So, hey, hope this helps. If you have any questions, just let me know.